ready to survive and advance on the Grizzly Truth Sports Network. Survive and Advance is brought to you by Replenishing Care and Technologies. Make sure you check them out on our website, thegrizzlytruth.net. You can click the banner. I am your co-host for the show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now I want to welcome in my other co-host who won a national championship, combined with Isaiah Thomas for 26 points in the 81 national championship game. Help me welcome to the show, Steve Risley.
Michael, how you doing today?
I'm always doing good. You know that.
I know.
Especially when we're going to have two guys on that are not as smart as us, so it's going to make us sound smarter. And first, we're going to start.
Wait. We got Lukas on, don't we?
Yeah, Lukas is on.
So we're okay. We got Lukas on.
Yeah. So we won't be the dumbest people in the room. And we've even added people, so.
Does Lukas sound better today?
I don't know. Lukas, talk.
How's it going, guys?
All right. How you doing,
Listen to that.
That sounded much better.
We fixed Lukas's microphone problems.
There you go. And our next guest today is known as probably the finest junior high teacher in America, Scott Wilson. How you doing, Scott?
I am very well. I was having a good day till a couple of days ago with this allegation stuff. I'm good.
All right. And, yeah, today we're talking about what should Ohio State do about Urban Meyer. And, Scott, we'll let you go first. We'll just give each one of us take about a minute, state your case. You go first, Scott.
All right. Well, so there's number one, I think there's a lot of things involved here that we don't know about. Do I think this is fireable? No. Do I think he knew about this? Yes. I think the coach, Zach Smith, is a complete piece of crap. But I've heard the two things that I think are really important to look at here. Number one is in 2009, there's been speculation whether or not charges were filed, charges weren't filed. It's a lot of he said, she said. So I think the 2009 incident matters a lot because the cops showed up a lot and there were no charges filed from what I'm seeing. And secondly, the fact that she stayed with him. And I know there's a lot of women who will stay with their men, but the fact that she stayed with them, I think, is a big deal. I've been to two of his clinics. I think Meyer's a really good guy. I think what he does is teach these kids about life more than beyond football. I think he has his flaws, but I don't think this is a fireable offense. Suspension, half a season, maybe, but I just don't think this is fireable.
All right, Lukas?
I think this is absolutely fireable. I think the text messages that were revealed yesterday by Brett McMurphy really proved to me that Urban Meyer knew about this and did nothing to help stop this. Zach Smith, coach, that obviously, he was beating up his girlfriend, is the grandson of Earl Bruce, who was Urban Meyer's coaching mentor. So there's some connection here where I think Urban Meyer views Zach Smith as a young prodigy, if you will. So he was trying to obviously sweep this under the rug. I think this is a fireable offense because in 2018, not only is the person who beats up their partner culpable, but also the person with authority who just shoves it underneath the rug. We saw this with Joe Paterno in Penn State. We saw this in Michigan State. We saw this in Baylor recently. I think that, obviously there are allegations right now, but if the text messages are that were revealed are true, where Urban Meyer's wife got word of this, she definitely must have let Urban know about what was going on, and clearly Urban did nothing about it. I think that they're going to do their due diligence, but I think it's about a less than 5% chance that Urban Meyer keeps his job at Ohio State.
All right, Steve?
Yeah, I think first off, we have to have due process. We got to let the evidence come out, let everybody speak their piece. But it's in his contract. He just signed a new contract in April. It's in his contract that not reporting these violations is a terminable offense. the fact that there are no felony charges filed by police is the fact that he's a football coach at Florida, the biggest program in the country at the time, coach at Ohio State. These things get swept under rugs by police officers all the time and handled. The fact that the woman stayed with the coach, how many times does that happen where women just don't feel they can get out of it for whatever reason or not? I mean, I think that Ohio State's going to be put in a position eventually where they're going to have no choice if they want to not fall in the grasp of Penn State or Michigan State or Baylor or any of the other schools that are facing these right now. They're going to have to make a gut check call. And I don't believe that Urban Meyer is a man who didn't know what's not going on. Anybody who's that successful as a football coach has an idea of everything that's going on in your program. And if his wife has photos and text messages, I just can't fathom the fact that those weren't presented to Urban at some point in time and knew it. And then why all of a sudden, when leakage of this report's possibly going to come out, is Smith just fired on the 23rd now? I mean, is that like a preemptive strike to try and squelch this thing? Like, we took action, but we took action, 10 years too late. I don't know. I like Urban Meyer as a coach. I do think that he brought some respect to Ohio State in terms of trying to mentor students and try and get them into career paths and things like that. I think he's done a lot of good. But I think he's just put him in a position where if you don't want to have a movie made about you like Joe Pa did by HBO, they're going to have no choice. And in terms of Smith with Earl Bruce, he's a legacy person to the Ohio State football program through Earl Bruce. And he's going to get protected. It's going to happen. I just don't think in the end, basically my attitude is if it looks like shit and it smells like shit, it's probably shit. And I think that's where it's going to end up. That's just where it's going to end up. And they're going to have to get rid of him. They don't want to, but I don't think they're going to be left with a choice.
Yeah, but, and I think this. When you look at this falls on Ohio State, too, because Ohio State never investigated any of these incidents. And, Scott, the record with Urban Meyer speaks different than what he shows publicly. I mean, in a 3-year span, his last 3 years at Florida, 30 players were arrested. A lot of these charges were dropped, and a lot of them were on Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez broke an eardrum of a bouncer at a bar. Tim Tebow actually broke that up. That disappeared. He also, in 2007, was implicated in a shooting at a Vegas nightclub. That went away. Of course, we found out 10 years later that he might have even been the shooter. In Gainesville, they had a lawyer by the name of Huntley Johnson, which the Gators used to get them out of this stuff. I think it's really naive to believe anymore that a coach that's given this much power is kind of expected to happen. And when you look at it, I mean, Urban Meyer before has said him and his wife are so close. She's like the co-head coach at Ohio State.
Yeah.
So Urban acknowledges he was aware of Zach Smith's 2009 arrest for domestic abuse while Zach was there. Here's my thing, and this is where this all comes back to. Those charges were dropped, right? But the charges were dropped on Aaron Hernandez 3 times. 30 players were arrested. The charges were dropped 20 times, all done by Huntley Johnson. This is bullshit, Scott. This guy knew what was going on, and he brought Zach with him from Florida to Ohio State. And when he says he doesn't know, I mean, we're talking about a 2015 incident where his wife, Courtney, said Zach choked her, threw her against the wall while her 5-year-old son and her 3-year-old daughter are clinging to her legs. He was dismissed from his job last month because he violated a protective order. Steve, right. I'm pretty sure that, Scott, I'm pretty sure that Urban Meyer knew about the protective order. So how can we look at this and not think that we knew what was going on?
Well, look, I don't disagree that he is there a chance he knew? Yes. Now, but
there's
also
more than a chance.
There's more than a chance. I understand that, but hold on a second. So a lot of the stuff that his wife is alleging, there were no charges filed. If there's no charges filed, there's no guilt. A lot of it's secondhand information. I heard Zach Smith run a clinic. I think he's a piece of crap. From what I've heard, he was sending naked pictures of himself. I know somebody in Columbus who told me this. He was sending naked pictures of himself to multiple females.
So why wasn't he fired? If you knew about it, I'm pretty sure that Urban Meyer knew about it.
Well, actually, I don't think Meyer did know about that because I think a lot of that was because Meyer has this thing of any.
Come on, Scott.
Come on, Scott. Come on, Scott.
So you
Seriously?
knew, but Urban Meyer didn't? Come on.
Here's the problem. If Urban Meyer would just come out and say, I screwed up. I should have reported this. I made a bad decision to not. He probably wouldn't be in as much trouble as he is by continuing to deny plausibility that he knew what was going on. That's just digging him a deeper hole. He should step up to the plate and say, I was aware of it. I made bad choices. I made a bad decision. I'll take my suspension and my punishment. I'll go to. But right now, he's just digging himself a hole. He's not going to be. The university's not going to be able to ladder him out of it.
And Steve,
they can't do it.
Steve, he had an opportunity to do that at the Big Ten Media Day last week, and you know what he did? He just denied it.
He denied it. All he had to say was, honesty is always the best policy. Just kind of say, I was aware of these incidents, aware of these charges, I saw the photos. I was counseling him to try and work it out.
Sorry about that.
Before I had to go public.
All right. Yeah, we lost Scott for a second.
I was saying there were no charges filed against any of that stuff.
Because it's covered up. Why was there a restraining order if there were no charges filed?
Look, I'm not talking about the restraining. I'm talking about all these things she's alleged.
That's exactly what you're saying.
Okay?
Yeah.
No.
It's not alleged, Scott.
It's exactly
right here.
what you're
Hold
saying.
on. Let's look at the facts. The facts are this, all right? We have to believe, if Urban didn't know this, that Shelley didn't say anything to him. The facts are this. There's cell phone messages with pictures of her being beat, with her telling her about this. And Urban's wife said about Coach Smith that he scares me. Now, that right there, the fact that, he scares me. And
let's go back.
Shelley acknowledged seeing the photos and repeatedly expressed concern for Courtney, and once again said he scares me. So how could Urban
let's go
Meyer
back to the 2009 incident, though. The 2009 incident, Meyer said it wasn't what the facts were saying. It didn't turn out to be what they thought it was. But he also said he wouldn't talk anymore about it. I'm just saying this is a lot of secondhand information. There's a lot of gray area. Do I think that Meyer knew? Yes. Do I think it's a fireable offense? No.
How is it not fireable?
How is it not
a fireable offense to beat a woman? How is that not a fireable offense?
I don't think Meyer gets fired for this. I don't think you fire Meyer. I think you suspend him.
What?
No, I think
wait a second. Let me ask you one question, all right? And this is going to tell us what this is, because I think there's a good chance he makes it and doesn't lose his job too. Tell me what Jim Tressel did to get fired.
I was just thinking about that. There was an email that he did forward. What was that email?
No,
what was it about,
got
Mike?
tattoos for free, and then he lied about it. He was forced to resign. And the fact is this, Jim Tressel couldn't beat Michigan. Urban Meyer can't lose to Michigan. Urban Meyer is going to be defended by Ohio State fans no matter what, and it's sickening.
Mike, Tressel beat Michigan. He beat them a lot.
He didn't the last couple. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking of John Cooper. But Jim Tressel, outside of 2003, there was nothing there. He's not like Urban Meyer, Scott.
Mike, go back to Go back, he's worse. Go back to that Sports Illustrated article with Tressel. They had to go and interview guys in the prison because that's how bad these players, they were hanging out with pieces of crap.
Okay, now, wait a second. This brings us back to Florida. 30 players arrested in a 3-year time span. These guys are the same guys. They're the same. They're the absolute same. Because what they are is they're rich guys who, for some reason, like these players, think they can do no wrong. And it's true.
Tressel was dirty, Mike.
And Urban Meyer's not. Urban Meyer's not dirty. You know what? Urban Meyer's program was destroyed because when he left in 2010, basically they brought in new coaches at Florida, and those coaches were under the directive that we don't want this program to be like it was under Meyer. And
Okay,
we're not
but
talking
here's
about
what
wins
Urban
or
Meyer.
losses. They didn't want scumbags. Urban Meyer's a scumbag.
But here's what Urban Meyer didn't do. Tressel gave over 10,000. Tressel had a guy at the university he coached before, Youngstown State. A kid got a ticket. Tressel gave him a book, told him to write on leadership, write a 500-word essay. The ticket disappears. He directed another guy to a booster who gave the player over $100,000. Meyer hasn't done that.
Oh,
so
wait
I think
a second.
you're
No,
talking
wait.
two different people
It's
here.
proven he's done that because when you look at the payoffs, you look at a payoff. Aaron Hernandez, broken arm of a bouncer in 2007. The charges were dropped. That bouncer bought him a new house after that. In 2007, shooting in Vegas nightclub. They dropped the charges against Aaron Hernandez, and 9 years later, they found out that he might have even been the guy that pulled the trigger. So don't tell me they don't do
agree.
this. He covered it up.
No. What I'm saying is, if the charges aren't filed, then you can't. Then it becomes speculation. Yeah. Do I think Aaron Hernandez did that? Absolutely. I think it was. Do I think it was mishandled? Not really, because you're dealing. If charges aren't filed, what can you? What can you do with the coach?
Charges weren't filed because he was paid off.
Yes.
He was paid off.
I'm not
2009.
arguing that. I'm not arguing that.
Okay, so if you're not arguing that, let's listen to this. In 2009, you said the charges were dropped. There is a history here from 2006 to 2010 of Florida players and now probably coaches who didn't have charges filed against them because it was taken care of by a lawyer by the name of Huntley Johnson, who was a Gainesville attorney, and multiple players from Florida said you knew once you got in trouble, you go to Huntley, he would take care of it. One of the players that was there, I forget who the badass linebacker they had was, but he said he got in trouble, he got arrested. He went to Huntley's office the next morning. There was only 3 other Florida players there. I mean, come on, to sit here and think because Urban Meyer has a clean-cut image and, you know, he talks about...
I didn't say he had a clean-cut image.
Well, why do you want somebody... Wait a second. These are your taxpayer money, right? $6 million he makes off the taxpayers of Ohio. So you're good with somebody that is not squeaky clean making $6 million.
You tell me what coach is squeaky clean, Mike. Come on.
No, don't go that route. Don't try to lump
This is the Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump.
No.
No, but here's
the deal, Scott. Here's the deal. Whoa. I haven't said anything in a while. It's my turn to talk. Here's the deal, Scott. I would be in your camp if Urban would just come out and say, "I fucked up." All right.
Okay, fair enough.
Should have reported this. I screwed up. I tried to cover the guy. I tried to get their situation resolved without it ruining everybody's lives. I made a gross mistake. I would support him staying at that point in time. I would be more supportive of him staying at that point in time. I still don't know that I'd support it. But by him plausibly denying it, it doesn't have to be criminal charges. He has a morals contract clause in his contract that he just signed that says if he doesn't report it, it's terminable. And he's
hold on. I agree with that. You got a good point. I agree with that.
He's done. If he just come out and say, in the Big Ten, we became aware of it. It became unmanageable for us. We had to terminate him. We're now documenting everything, reporting it to the NCAA, to the police, to everybody, and turning it over. We tried to make this thing get resolved internally. It could not be done. I made a bad error in judgment there.
All right, real quick.
I take accountability for that.
Real quick, let's let Lukas say something, and Scott, you can go because Lukas has been quiet for a while.
Okay.
So I agree with you, Steve, 100%.
Thank you.
I think if Urban Meyer, Joe Paterno had just gone to the appropriate people and revealed this information, their reputation would still be intact. Urban Meyer's reputation is, to me, tarnished forever. And, you know, I liked him as a person. I liked him as a football coach. And he meant a lot to the Ohio State community. Now, to Mike's point about the charges being dropped, in 2009 with Zach Smith, you know, and with his wife, guess who went to the wife to not file charges? Earl Bruce. Earl Bruce went to the wife and said, you know what? Don't file charges because Zach here, my grandson, is, that's going to ruin his football career. So she dropped the charges. So here we have another situation where these football coaches are so caught up in the reputation and the prestige of the program that they are protecting these people to a fault, where innocent lives like this ex-wife of Zach are being in harm's way. She could have died because of what Zach Smith, and his domestic violence.
Yeah, and the kids are going to be messed
Meyer
up forever seeing that.
For sure. And Urban Meyer did nothing to stop it. And that is, to me, a fireable offense. He may not, he's not at the level of the abuser, but he covered it up. He brushed this under the rug to protect the reputation and the prestige of the Ohio State University. And now he's probably going to lose his job for it.
Well, I think to your point, I think there's a possibility that's true. That being said, the thing about Earl Bruce, this is all coming from her. Now, let me finish here. This is all coming from her. This is what she's saying. I don't think he's going to go because I think the boosters are going to have a lot to say with this. I don't think he's going to go because I think everything that he's done for the university is going to outweigh it. Now, regarding this situation, he was informed and he had knowledge of it. So allegedly, police were involved in both incidents. But the fact that no charges were filed either time, if no charges are filed, it's almost like the case has been dismissed, because that means the police did not have enough. They did not believe that this was you could proceed forward, because he acknowledged
she was told not to, Scott.
Yeah, I mean,
why
is there a restraining order on him then?
It's easy to file a restraining order on anybody.
Yeah. You would know, Scott.
Now you have to go.
You would know.
Well, no, that's really true, because I filed a restraining order on Goodpaster 3 days ago.
Yeah, but I filed one on him like a week ago.
I should have filed one on you, Goodpaster, after how you treated me when I reffed that game that I was coaching on the same team with.
Well, how about this? Maybe I just won't show up next Wednesday to help you with your offensive line. Go
Let's disregard everything I just said.
Okay.
I just think this is innocent. I do think this sounds like an ex-wife who's trying to get a lot of money.
What about the text messages, Steve? I mean, Urban Meyer's wife is texting with her.
I don't know.
Quit calling me Scott.
Or Steve. Scott. What about the text messages?
Yes. But look, I don't disagree that the text messages are bad, but what it's going to come into, the reason I don't think he's going to get fired, because I think they're going to start pointing fingers at somebody, and somebody's going to take the blame on this. I think she's going. I think she's going to be gone from the university.
How about this, real quick?
Okay, let me tell you this right now. Let me say this. Whoa. Let me say this. If they don't fire him, Ohio State is shit. The university is shit.
Yeah.
The football program is shit, and I will never support. It'll ruin Ohio State. They can keep him, but at a price they'll pay to keep him, it will not be worth it to that university.
All right,
because
Scott,
he is bad news right now.
Remember this.
Right.
We're missing two things here. Number one,
if they're going to keep him for the honor of state winning national championships, that is horseshit.
This is the thing. More than 100 men came forward with allegations of sexual misconduct against Richard H. Strauss, a former doctor and professor at Ohio State.
Right.
The lawsuit was filed, and this is a joke, Scott. We're sitting here, and now we're talking about this again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my thing, all right? Either way, I don't care what happens, but I think the entire sports program should be disciplined at Ohio State, because this is something that has run rampant through Ohio State, just like it did with the
I'm telling you right
Lancaster
now,
thing.
if I was the president of Ohio State University, I'd be looking at my pension retirement plan right now, because his ass may be gone too.
Yeah.
It happened at Michigan State. The AD's gone. He's gone. I mean, this is a ripple effect that the university cannot withstand. If they do try to withstand it, you sacrifice Urban Meyer and you try and clean your program up right now, or in this day and age with social media, with ESPN, with Bleacher Report, with Barstool Sports, with Grueling Truth, he's fried. He's still in the court of social media and Ohio State will not recover from it.
Hey, and real
For a long, long
we
time
talked about Joe
in a
Paterno.
galaxy far, far away.
We talked about Joe Paterno. Remember this about Joe Paterno. Joe Paterno did go report this to his immediate superior.
Yeah.
He was fired because his immediate superior did nothing about it, and he didn't start screaming. He didn't go to the cops. So technically, he went through the chain of command. But after a while, chain of command means
years
nothing.
and years after, though, Mike.
No,
but look at the crime.
Wait a second. This is what people don't understand. If you read the court case, Joe Paterno immediately when these things had happened and he found out, told the school president or the AD. The problem is they did nothing. So by them doing nothing, it implicates him because when you see something like a child molester or a pedophile running around and you don't go do something about it beyond what your superiors wouldn't do, you are culpable. I mean, that's what
this offense is not the same thing as Paterno's. You're talking something that's really, really, no, it's not. You're talking about rape, multiple kids.
Steve, Scott,
See,
this is what I don't want to hear.
Scott, I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to go there with that.
Hold on.
You can't
I
discern
this. Scott, what you
that's
had
bullshit,
is this.
Scott.
Scott, you had
beating wives and
you had
molesting
a woman
kids. You
get beat.
can't discern those things.
Hold on. You had a woman get beat in front of her 5- and 3-year-old. Right there, you just ruined those two kids' lives.
So why weren't charges filed? Why weren't charges filed?
Because she was told by Earl Bruce.
But the cops showed up multiple times.
Yeah.
That's my point. If charges aren't filed,
exactly.
I'm saying then here's the thing. Then you have a civil suit that Meyer has a civil suit against you. But let me make one more point and I'll shut up. Here's why I don't think he's going to be fired. One of our players coached. He was a special teams assistant down in Alabama. After the 2009 game, when Kiffin quit giving the ball to Derrick Henry, there was a one-sided shouting match between Kiffin and Saban. And at one point, they heard Saban say, "Do you have any idea how many effing millions you have cost this university because of your inept play calling? Millions." I think the money's going to talk on this. I really do.
So you're all right with that?
That's why I don't. It's not a matter of whether I'm all right with it. I just think there's too much.
We're asking your opinion.
No,
we're asking your opinion. Is the money more important than doing the right thing?
Mike, I don't think the right thing is to fire him. I think given what's come out, I think suspension. But I think a lot of people. I think you got to look at the reporters too. A lot of these reporters are this Brett McMurray. He's got a huge anti-Meyer thing. You have to look at the perspective of the people. He does. Mm-hmm. I think that matters. I think these people are looking at anything they can to take Meyer down.
All right, so
I don't think this is
Mike. What? Mike, I got to make a statement. The Grueling Truth does not necessarily always agree with the views of the guests we have on our program. I'm just going to put that on record right now.
It's supposed to be a debate show, Steve, so I think that's kind of implied.
Okay, but I'm just going to put it out there. It's on record that the Grueling Truth does not agree with the opinions and observations of the guests that we have on our show.
Fair enough.
I'm just going to put that on there. It's on record.
Fair enough.
Go ahead.
But once again, you can't make the text messages go away. And in the end, if he'd have said he'd have known about it, but it was all cleared up, he didn't worry about it, that's one thing.
Covered it up.
He says he had no knowledge. His wife got the text. His wife said that she was scared of Coach Smith. You know, not the wife with Smith. Urban Meyer's wife said, "He scares me." And he stayed with Urban for 10 years.
You know what? I've been married 34 years to my wife. And I'm nobody of any relevance or importance, but there is not one thing in the world that my wife and I don't talk about. 34 years of marriage, there is not one thing that goes on in our lives that my wife and I do not discuss. Nothing.
Exactly.
Menopause, we discuss it. We discuss it.
We went there.
Who's got it?
So you're telling me
erectile dysfunction, we discuss
Hold on.
it. All right? There's not one thing that we don't discuss. Not one thing. So don't tell me that she didn't tell him.
Yeah, and that's
I'm
the
not
problem,
saying that.
Scott.
if Mark D'Antonio still has a job,
Oh, geez.
Forget
about Mark D'Antonio. This is not about Mark.
Wait a second.
Wrong.
I've got your answer
He's
for
not
Mark
going
D'Antonio.
Wrong. Don't go there.
No, it's not the answer.
Don't go
Guys,
there.
I'm not.
Mark
I'm just telling you. That's why I
Go
don't.
there.
Reported.
I think there's a lot of
everything to his
reasons why
superiors.
his players have raped, and there have been cover-ups. Did you not see the
not from
ESPN
him.
story?
The cover-up was not from him because he reported every incident. Now, I will say this. He should be fired for it, but this is my problem here. You cannot defend somebody by bringing up somebody else because that means your position's indefensible.
Exactly.
It's like when the
But you're
president...
using the Paterno incident to justify.
Because I didn't interrupt
you're using
you.
Sorry, I'll shut up. Sorry.
This is my point. You know how I knew that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were both bad? Because every time somebody that was voting for Clinton, when you'd bring up what she did, they'd bring up what Donald Trump did. When you talk to somebody that voted for Donald Trump, they bring up what Hillary Clinton did. If you cannot debate your case on its own merits, you have
But you're doing that now. You're bringing up
not.
somebody else.
I'm not comparing it to anybody else. When did I compare this to anybody else?
You just brought up Trump's name. Donald Trump. Trump.
No. What I'm saying is
I'm just messing with you.
the mentality of Trump people and Clinton people are the same. That's why we know both sides are pathetic. Because they can't debate their case on their own merits. Urban Meyer cannot debate this case without you bringing up other people that did bad things. And I can tell you this, with Urban Meyer, if this was the first time there was ever any question, I could see giving him the benefit of the doubt, maybe. But 30 players arrested in 3 years at Florida tells me he cares about winning. He doesn't give a damn what his players do as long as they don't get caught. And this is about him, Scott. And the problem is this. The only thing that him cares about is him. He doesn't care about these kids. And you know what? You can sit there and say, well, I went to these...
That's not true.
Wait, no, this is what you're going to give me. You're going to give me, well, I went to his camp, and his players are all really nice, and he shows great leadership.
No, that's not
because
what I'm
he's
saying.
fake. He's fake.
Mike, I'm saying, look at the facts. The case was investigated by the police, and Meyer and the staff cooperated fully. That's my point. That's why I don't think he's going to be fired for this, nor do I think he should be fired. I just don't.
He said he didn't know about it.
But according to what was said, according to what he said, he said it was not what was reported. It was wrong. To me, there's just too much speculation. There's too much speculation. I'm just
I hate to tell you this, but rich people that are used to getting their way, it's like Pete Rose.
They get their way.
I mean, he had sex with teenage girls, but guys like you will still defend him. He bet on baseball. But guys like you will still defend him. You defend him when you say that he should have a statue. If you think he should have a statue, there's a problem with that. If you think he should be in the Hall of Fame, there's a problem with that. And it all goes back to one thing. There's too many people in this world that if somebody is on their team, we love them. They can do no wrong, and we don't want to lose. We want to be able to be on Facebook arguing with Alabama fans, not being on Facebook arguing with Cincinnati Bearcat fans.
So, Mike, let me ask you this. Is it really an employer's place to fire employees for alleged conduct that had nothing to do with their actual job?
Alleged?
Yes, it's in his contract.
Yeah, it's in his contract. It's a morals clause.
It's called a morals clause.
And Title IX. Title IX states that.
Title
IX states if you ignore that, you lose your job.
You probably have that in your contract as a teacher. You should read your contract.
There's a lot. Yeah, any type.
Yeah, it's probably in your contract.
I agree with that. True.
Yeah. So
again, alleged. But again, this is alleged. Now, if charges were filed against him,
oh boy,
and he didn't do anything about it, I'm
just
saying.
That's not the point. He said that he knew nothing about this.
There's an obligation to report.
He said he knew nothing.
Yeah, but again, I think I think they need to look at what was he saying he specifically knew nothing about.
He's saying nothing about the 2015 case. That is clear because that's what he said. They asked him the question, and he said he knew nothing.
Hang on, Scott. What are you supporting? Yeah. Are you supporting Urban Meyer as a decent human being, or are you supporting Ohio State football? What are you supporting in this discussion or debate?
I'm looking at the facts of the case. I'm a huge Buckeye fan, but at the same time,
So you're supporting
also,
Ohio State.
Yeah. No.
You're supporting
I'm not.
Ohio State.
Stop. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm separating myself from that.
Yeah, you
are.
I'm
not. Stop. I'm just looking at, based on the facts of the case, I think it's too early to make a quick, couch quarterback decision. I think you got to let it all play out first. If this goes on,
let me ask you another question. Let me ask you just a stupid question. This is a really stupid question. Is OJ guilty or not?
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Hell yeah.
He's innocent. He was proven innocent. Do you think he did it or not?
Yeah, he was found not guilty, Scott.
Oh, Scott.
He was found not guilty. Do you think he did it or not, Scott?
I think the science, Matt, again, he did it. It's clear. But the fact is,
but he found
was acquitted, so
he's found innocent.
He was acquitted. Right, so he's legally allowed to be free, of course.
So what you got is this.
Okay.
If you're rich and you got enough money for the right attorney, you can get away with anything, correct?
Get away with anything, right.
Johnny Cochran.
Stop.
Johnny Cochran, that's Ohio State.
Take that in there now. Go. That is true. I don't disagree with that. Money talks.
Hey, don't yell at your kids like that just because you're losing the argument here.
No,
he's not losing the argument. He's presenting a case.
Listen, you little punks.
Are you talking to me?
Dude, that's all. Be careful there.
Sammy,
be careful there. You're a teacher.
Oh, I know. He's trying to play this.
You don't want that on air.
No. Sammy, can you please go in the other room? Please.
Put
Stop.
Sammy on.
Sorry.
I bet Sammy's against Urban Meyer.
No, Sammy is Urban. No, we'll stop. I just don't think it's a fireable offense. I think suspension, yes, but I think if his track record,
they have no
Meyer's
choice.
never been arrested.
They have no choice.
There's no choice. The contract.
I'm telling
you. There's no choice. So the other allegations going on against Ohio State in the wrestling situation, they have no choice.
Are you the one that played for? Did you play for the 81, or you were on the basketball team?
81 team, yeah.
So how were these kind of things handled if there was somebody, a coach was doing
these
something?
These things didn't occur. They didn't occur.
Because they respected Knight. Yeah, they respected
Knight.
Yeah.
We feared Knight. We respected him, and we respected the university we played for, and we didn't pull this shit. Okay? Yeah. Our coaches didn't pull this crap, and we all were a unified team working together for a common goal. We didn't have this in our house. You can't compare any of what I did with Bob Knight to what Ohio State's doing right now.
I was just asking how it's handled. But I also think, too, there's more players, and I don't think Meyer, you're asking for him to be responsible for everybody's conduct.
That's why they paid $6 million.
$6 million a year to be responsible.
I understand that, but, again, this is all alleged stuff. I'm just telling you, it's
nobody wants
text messages.
It's
text messages.
Again, I understand that. I think she's going to be gone from her job at the university. That's without question. I think that firing Smith, his wife works for she teaches a nursing class. She's done.
So
she's gone.
They'll let the wife go.
Why? Because she reported
it. Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a fall person, and she's not bringing millions of dollars in the university like Meyer is. And so that's why I think that's what I'm saying.
But you're all right with that.
It disappoints me to hear you speak like that. It disappoints me.
Well, I don't even know.
I think that you're just really misaligned in what you're thinking about the university as a teacher, and that's not the right attitude to be presenting in public or anything. I'm just going to go on the line and say it.
Let me go on like this. I think he needs to apologize if he comes forward and this is
too late
comes
now.
Forward.
It's too late now.
Too late.
He
needed to do it a few years ago, Scott.
Yeah, it's just too late, Scott. You can't apologize now. He's done.
You got to look back and see all the facts. There's too much gray area in all this stuff. I'm just saying legally, I don't think they have a case to fire him because this isn't black and white. It's a lot of her text messages.
He violated Title IX.
I don't think he did. I don't think he violated Title IX. I don't think it's a Title IX violation. I don't think it's a Title IX violation because it was reported to authorities. So I think that makes it not a Title IX violation. I may not be right on that, but I'm pretty sure. But it still violates moral laws.
Courtney Smith, she did not confirm with Meyer if Shelley told Urban, I know what you said about everything in the erectile dysfunction, but I don't think that, and again, that's going to be a huge thing because he can say, I didn't know. She never told me.
Yeah, but that's a lie.
That's a lie.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying then it comes in what is provable. That's all.
So, Scott, it seems to me the way I take you is this. If it wasn't Urban Meyer in Ohio State, you might have a problem with it. You might not. But since it's Ohio State, you have a vested interest.
No, I would say the same thing if this was Harbaugh at Michigan. I really would. I just think you, as a coach, I think you just got to let it play out. That's what I'm saying. Let everything play out
and
first.
This is what I think. This is what I think, Scott. I think as a coach, you have to have control of every single detail in your program. It's not Pee Wee football.
Exactly.
And when you get to a higher level, whether it's high school, college, or professional, everything is you. I mean, anytime I've coached a team, it's been anything that happened came back to me. It didn't matter if I did it, didn't matter if I knew about it, but I better take care of it. And
Mike, it's called accountability, Mike.
Yeah.
It's called accountability.
Who's silent
word? Nobody wants to take charge of it. It's called accountability. And Meyer shucked his accountability responsibilities.
Did Meyer silence the wife?
What?
Did Meyer silence the wife? Did Urban Meyer silence the wife?
And did Don Corleone kill everybody in The Godfather? No, he had his henchmen.
No, he did not.
I don't think Charles Manson killed anybody either. He just directed it.
Right, he didn't kill anybody either.
I never saw the movie, so this is all allegedly about Corleone to me. I'm just kidding.
It's true.
You never saw The Godfather?
No.
What kind of an American are you?
Hey, you get off, Scott, because I've never seen The Godfather either.
Well, I know you're an idiot.
Mike, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm an American, I'm not an Italian.
Yeah. All right, you guys talk. I've talked too much.
All right,
you guys
Scott.
Talk. Figure this out.
Scott, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I want to say the Patriots because I think they're really good, but actually I think Jacksonville's got a good chance. Or maybe the Bengals.
There you go.
I like what the Bengals are doing.
Oh, my
There you go. Steve, do we have any other sports news to discuss?
No, we got Jerry Jones, but I think that's better saved for another day.
Yeah, what do you think about Jerry Jones real quick, Scott?
According to what?
With the national anthem.
The one telling his players they're going to stand or else they're not going to play. I personally think it's a private institution. He can do whatever he wants.
Okay. So tomorrow, do you want to come back and be a guest when we talk about Jerry Jones?
Sure.
All right. Lucas might be on your side on this one. I'm not sure, though.
Okay.
If he is, then that means you're completely and utterly probably wrong. So then you'll have
I think it's going to be another 3-on-1, Scott. Sorry, I'm on.
Hey,
you're going to be alone tomorrow again.
All right. Yeah. Hey, I appreciate
it's job
you guys
security, Scott. Job security.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm just a junior high coach. I've been teaching for 2 decades. I don't know near as much as far as guys that have coached and played beyond high school. I just think money's going to talk on this. That's all.
I do, too. I agree with you completely, but that's not the point.
I agree with you, Scott. There is a good chance he's going to keep his job. Yeah, there is. And it's going to be sad if that's what happens.
Scott, should it
matter? It's going to be sad.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ohio State can withstand it, given the other problems they've got going on right now with their wrestling program. I don't think they can take it. I think right now the president's.
Do you think that actually going to save his job with that Ohio State wrestling thing? Do you think that's actually going to be a blessing for Meyer because it's a bigger issue they got to deal with?
I don't.
No, I think it's a compilation. Right now, if I was
this is bigger because it's the football program.
If I was the Michigan State coach, D'Antonio, I'd be shitting my pants right now too, because this is only going to exacerbate that situation.
Yeah,
this is going to bring now. More people are going to come down on him now too. They're going to go, now the witch hunt's out there. Now the witch hunt is out there, and Izzo and D'Antonio were kind of skirting under it, trying to get low key, kind of now it's just all blown up again. And these two guys at Michigan State are sitting here going, "Holy shit, we did not need to have this happen." Because now the witch hunt has started. The mob is forming outside of Frankenstein's castle, and we're going to go find Dr. Frankenstein. And
So, Mike,
it
when you
is-
say Mike, when you say there's no cussing on this show,
I know. Steve just completely ignored it. But I'm
My
proud
wife
of
wanted
you,
me-
Scott. I'm proud of you
Yes.
for not being like that.
well, my wife is sitting right here. My wife wanted me to tell you guys this. She said, number one, there's two sides to every story, and number two, she doesn't see the point of a bunch of guys arguing about this because I should be spending time outside playing kickball with my kids,
Kickball? That leads to soccer.
I guess.
Oh,
That
boy.
leads to soccer.
No,
And
no!
I know from looking at your Facebook page, Scott, that you went to a soccer game, and I've never been more unimpressed or depressed.
It was free.
By somebody in my life. I
It
don't
was a
care.
free-
I don't care if they paid you. It's soccer. Be an American, Scott. Be
It was
an
FC
American.
Cincinnati. It was a date night with my wife. It was quality time.
Really? So
Yeah,
the
it's just
best
like
place
that.
you could go on a date without your kid is a soccer game?
Well, we were talking about erectile dysfunction out there. I'm just kidding.
Are you? Put your wife on. Put your wife on, Steve.
Hey,
And-
you know what?
and
You know
there's
what,
Meyer.
Scott? Let me tell you something. Scott, about
Yeah.
erectile dysfunction. I worked for Pfizer for 25 years. We created a drug called Viagra that saved
Viagra.
marriages, saved lives,
Oh, I don't
and
disagree.
changed the outcome of
Yeah.
many people.
I'll
So
give
there's
you
nothing wrong.
Steve's-
Don't be ashamed to talk about
Yeah,
it.
I'll give you
So
Steve's
make all the fun
number.
if you want to
Wait.
about it. But it's
You
a
wanna do
serious
it
Mike,
off
here's
air.
my wife. Here, stop.
I don't want to do this. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, Scott said that he has problems with erectile dysfunction, and then he told us that he didn't. What's the truth?
Next question.
All right, put Scott back on.
All right, no, I got a question for you. Wait, I got
I
a
learned
question.
about-
I got a question. Is she still on?
Yeah.
Should Urban Meyer be fired?
I think there's a lot of
As well-
things that needs to happen. And there are two sides to every story. And I don't think he should get favoritism just because he's Urban Meyer. As long as they don't touch Terry Combs, because I went to Coleraine, then we're good.
I like Kerry Combs, too.
Fair
He's
enough,
in the-
fair
Kerry
enough.
Combs
I think
is in the NFL coaching.
I learned what the pass block means today. He did
Fair
he did
enough.
tell me that. I thought it was when like the passer is. I thought it was when the defense is blocking with the passer throwing the ball, but he said
All right,
it no.
so
He does.
it's-
God does
Hey,
know how
hey,
to
Mike.
coach football.
Hey, Mike, let's have Scott's wife on tomorrow instead of Scott.
There's Scott back.
She's probably more level-headed.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
She's a
So,
good woman.
Scott, she obviously
Yes,
is a
she
great
is.
woman to put up with you.
Yeah.
So the fact that she ducked the erectile dysfunctional thing means I will send
Hey,
you
no.
Steve's phone number.
Yeah.
You can call Steve. Steve does a little chat line for guys that have a hard time getting a boner.
Just call 1-800-Viagra.com. They'll take care
That's
of you.
amazing. That
If
is
you call
amazing.
Risley, you'll no longer have erectile dysfunction. But
Hey, Steve, you're making America hard again. I mean, great again.
There you go.
all right,
go.
guys.
And that's a good thing.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
before this deteriorates anymore, we're going to go ahead and end the show today. Tomorrow we'll be back to talk about the Jerry Jones National Anthem protest with Scott and hopefully his wife, who seems to be the more intelligent of the two. Lukas
Yes.
Weese, our,
Yes.
our little brother from Canada, will hopefully be back then also. Remember,
Oh,
you
I
can
will be.
Yeah, remember, you can check out all of our shows now on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn. Wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The
And,
Grueling Truth. So for Scott Wilson, Lukas Weese, Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.